Hey guys, welcome to another week of WoW Weekly with Myst. And since one of the biggest accomplishments I did this week was the raid progression that I managed to pull off, that's why I decided to use some of the footage that I recorded from that progression. And that will be our background video for you to watch while I talk about, this week's accomplishments, goals, next week's news, goals, and all that. So I guess right now is a great time to, let you know what happened with the raid, since that is what we are looking at. So raid progression went really good. The goal was to do at least 2 bosses. So we did a lot more than 2 bosses. I did want to get myself into heroic, but I just couldn't pull it off in time. There was a lot of shit I did this week. But I did get 7/8 done on normal mode. So we had pretty solid group. It was going really well. And unfortunately, by the time we got to Queen Ashera, people started giving up. And yeah, so Queen Ashera, we did not get a whole lot of percentage off of her. I believe the best attempt I had on her for this run was like 50%. So yeah. But I was still pretty happy about that. One of the biggest things was that there was an achievement I wanted to get before reset, and we accomplished that by doing 7/8, and that is this right here. The reason I wanted this achievement is because when it comes to LFR mode being out, I like to get those LFR achievements before they're available. That way, like, it's kind of like, I don't know if you call it a bragging right, but it makes me feel better when I get the achievement before you can just go queue in with some random people that probably never raid. It just feels better if you do it with, a group that's actually willing to stick out a raid for hours rather than a group that just wants to queue in for a 20-minute thing, right? So that was my biggest thing. So we accomplished that. I was really hoping to be able to get the last achievement as well, which was 2 bosses, Zakul and Queen Ashera. We knocked out the Zakul part, but not the Queen Ashera. So that is going to be one of the next goals that, I would like to knock out that achievement before that wing comes out for LFR. Now for our next accomplishment, something I have been trying to do for a long time. We finally accomplished this weekend. When was it? It was Saturday. I had decided to go back to Throne of Thunder and try for my last 2 achievements. And it took a bit, but we fucking pulled it off this time. I am so happy. I've been on those last 2 achievements for that run for so long because they're the last tough ones. And yeah, basically, it was the egg achievement, which you can do in a group. But yeah, so it's a little easier done with a druid because you can throw dots on, grab the egg, boss dies while you're carrying the egg. So I finally got that after a lot of attempts, so I'm glad I did it, solo. Well, mainly because I try to do these solo guides for you guys, right? But the other reason is since I'm a druid and a night elf, of course, I can shadow meld. So if I fuck it up, I can quickly shadow meld before the boss dies, retry again. So that's how I went and did it. I was doing a lot of shadow melding, so I'd try shadow meld, and I was like trying to perfect the where exactly I go stand, like, or fly to have the egg kind of fall the right direction and all that. And it took a bit, but I got it. I did record it for you guys, so there will be the guide up there. And so I was really happy with that. And then they made me even more happy. I was just happy enough with the achievement getting done, but then I went and looted the boss, and there was the mount. So it was really a great run. And at that point, I'm like, well, we gotta try for this next one, because it's all I need now for the mount. And I really didn't want to come back to TOT, because through trying for all this, I've gotten every transmog set off of every difficulty. Never mind transmog sets. I've looted every item I can in that place. That's how much I've ran it. And now I had the mount. So really, I had no other reason to ever step foot back into TOT. I have everything, right? So, because I also have Horadon's mount, which I got like a while ago, a couple of years ago or whatever. So I really didn't want to step back in. So I had grabbed a guildie. We tried to get the streams achievement. It was not going well. And then afterwards, he went to go to the store or whatever, and I decided I would try it on my own. And after a few deaths, we got it. So I also will have a guide for that. I recorded that. I record everything I do in WoW. So I was really happy to finally knock out those achievements. So yeah, technically this weekend we got 2 mounts, because I got the birds, then I got also the mount for the achievements. So that was really nice. Yeah. So that knocks one raid out. Some of them are bad, but with all things said, that achievement, I was on those last 2 for over a year. Like, I had everything else for so long. All the rest of the achievements are simple. But yeah, so those are my accomplishments. That's basically what I consider accomplishments. As it stands, I have not gone into a Mythic Plus yet. We did, even with me not going in this week, I made the goal, which was, the goal was to do a +6. And the reason how I made that goal without doing a Mythic this week is because I record these on Sunday nights, right? So that they post on Monday for you guys. And when I made that goal last week, I went and did one last Mythic on Monday night. And that Mythic on Monday night was a +6 shrine. So that's how we completed the goal without doing a Mythic. So I still haven't done this week, so I'm just going to try to just get whatever. I'm holding on to a 4 key right now, I think, or a 5, something like that. I'm just going to do that key, and that'll be good, because we're starting to run out of time for the week. And then for the item level was the next goal that we had. The goal was to get 417 item level. We accomplished that. We are item level 420. And you're probably thinking it came from this raid. Nope. If you... Like, this raid, I didn't get any gear out of it. Like, I looted some gear, but because this is normal mode, the gear is 415 and all my gear is at least 415 on me. So yeah, I was scrapping everything I was looting in the raid. I have to do at least a heroic to actually upgrade my gear. Either that or it does a little nice Titan Forge or something for me. However, what did get us to 420 is for a long time, and I mean like months, many, many months, I've been waiting for a new weapon, and I ended up getting a 415 weapon off of this past week's world boss. The one that's out in Najtar, the Soulbinder. And yeah, so he dropped a 415 staff. So I traded in my one hand and off hand for the 415 because my one hand at the time was 400 and my off hand was 390. So it boosted it up, not hugely, but it boosted it up a bit. So that's how we ended up getting to our 420. Okay, and for our final goal that we had set for this week, that was to clear the quest log out a little more. It feels like I have not even done anything with that, but I have. I cleared a couple this week, but a couple just isn't enough. I really got to get the pet stuff, all those pet quests. I really gotta focus those, and I keep saying I'm gonna, but shit just keeps coming up. So yeah, we're gonna try that again this week. This week is gonna be a little less content as far as weekly stuff goes. So I'm gonna try my best to try to get that out of the way. So right now, as we stand, we're still technically maxed, but we've opened it up that we can take like 5 bonus quests or whatever. Whereas before, we were maxed including the bonus quests. And when I say bonus quests, for those that might be confused how I'm wording it, it's because the max amount of quests you can have is 25, but Blizzard will let you go over that. So technically you can be like 32 over 25. And 32 is generally the mark where they stop that leeway. And all of a sudden you have to start, deleting quests. Okay, so on the topic of goals, next week's goals that I would like to set for myself is okay, so for the mythics, I would like to do at least a +7. So mythic +7 is our first goal. Second goal will be Queen Ashura on any difficulty, but to be honest, even although I need loot on heroic, I would prefer it's on normal because I want that progression. I want 8 over 8 on normal mode. So, but as long as she's dead somewhere, we're good. And on top of that, let's put 2 raid goals there. So I would like Queen Ashura dead, and just any sort of progression on heroic, even if it's just the first boss, but some progression on heroic. And then our next goal will be to get an item level of, we'll say 422, because I think I'm pretty close to 421. So we'll make it 422 item level. And then we are going to do more of the quest clearing. So those are our goals for this coming up week. and we will see if I get them done. The biggest one for me, although it probably doesn't seem like it because it's last on the list, but the biggest one is clearing that goddamn quest log. Like, I have been maxed on quests for years. Like, this isn't a new thing. Like, they never up the max of quests, and then you end up in an area where there's 10 billion quests. And I'm a quester. I'm not going to just like abandon quests, right? I like to do all these quests. So I absolutely hate this quest log bullshit. It wouldn't be so bad if you went to an area and there was only like 2 quests or something, and then you went to another and there was a couple. But, you know, these areas, there's like fucking 10 quests when you get there. So yeah, that is one of the biggest in my mind, just because it makes it a pain, especially where I notice the pain is one of the mount farms that I've been putting on hold because the quest log has been full, and it's just been a pain in the ass to do it with the full quest log. But some of you guys that watch my streams might remember that at the end of the Mount Run streams, we used to go to the ICC tournament grounds. When you get there, you're taking, I think it's like 8 quests or something like that. It fills up your quest log pretty good. So you want to be, you know, not even with the bonus quests you can take, you don't want to be maxed. You want to be probably 20 out of 25 at the most, so that you can take pretty much all of them. So I always end up having to do one building at a time. For those that know that area, there's like one building of quests and then another building a little over the way, like, you know, just across the path. I usually do one building at a time, but it sucks doing it that way because sometimes those quests are in the same areas. So that's why I started just fucking skipping it until I can get the quest log a little better. Okay, so enough of my rambling, although, you know, this is a ramble video. But next up, we have this week's events. So for this week, we, of course, have the LFR Wing 2 opening up. I showed you the achievement because I had done it by doing the normal progression here. But I'll show you on screen again right now. So this is the wing that you will be able to do on Tuesday. And the bosses are not too bad at all with those. It's LFR though, right? Like, yeah, they'll be easier than that normal was. So, and then we have the World Quest for weekly, which is why I say I got time to do things, because like if you do World Quests on a daily basis, you don't even have to try that to make that weekly. You'll just get it done. So yeah, there's that. And then on July 31st, we will have the Current Tour Tavern Crawl. It's like a one-day mini event. And then on August 4th, which will be the Sunday, we will have Dark Moon start up. So yeah, I'll just leave it at there. I was going to say then you can like use it as your rep buffs, but I'll be talking about that in the next weekly because that's the week it'll kind of roll into. Okay, so for Mythics, we have Tyrannical, which is bosses have more health, deal 15% more damage. And then we will have Bolstering, which is when the adds buff their allies. And that'll be like their health and damage. And they, that happens when they're in like a 30-yard range. For that one, you want like kill all the trash as closely together. And then if you're doing a 7 or higher, because the tyrannical is like on like a +2 key, and then if you're doing a +4 or higher, you'll get the bolstering, which was the 30-yard range one. And then if you're doing a 7 or higher, you will also have explosive. Explosive, a lot of people hate it, but I feel like if you got a group that's good at, keeping up with it, it's really not that bad. It can get bad on like higher ones, of course, if you're doing like, in the couple digits, like a 15 or something. But, at 10 or lower, it's not horrible as long as you keep up with it. So basically it's an orb. You got to attack the orb. It's like a one-shot kill orb. And yeah, you want to attack that right away. And the biggest reason for that is because if the explosive goes off, then pretty much the entire party loses half their health. So that is the biggest reason for that one. Okay, so on to our news. There's actually only one thing I have for you guys news-wise, and it's a good thing because we almost had nothing. And this is something that happened like less than an hour before I started prepping this video for you guys and getting, this video done. So, Method did the world first kill on Mythic Queen Ashara. Like I said, before, I always record these on a Sunday. So Sunday is when it was done. It was done Sunday morning, and it took them 359 kills to accomplish it. But it is accomplished. They have the world first. They're, no one since then has downed her yet, so they are still, at the time of me doing this video anyway, they are still the only one. But like I said, it's only been, it's 11 a.m. that I'm recording this all up right now and getting this video for you guys. So it's still early. Like they literally just did their kill. So that's awesome. Yeah, that is a lot of kills. I was wondering when they would get it because, yeah, it's been 2 weeks now that they've been at, not really at Queen Ashara, but they've been doing the Mythic race. So, yeah. And the chart, which I'll show you right here, the chart shows them that it was one healer. It wasn't. It was actually that Lisk healer and then Josh Priest at the bottom. They were the two healers. So it wasn't one healed. It was two healed. But still not bad. Yeah. Yeah, I can definitely see Queen Ashara being a bitch on Mythic. She's a little rough on normal, so yeah, yeah, I could definitely see that being an issue, but awesome to them. And so that concludes the race since they have their world first. And I'm sure Limit will get it right after. And also, not that many will have this because this requires the Mythic kill. But in case you're interested, this Guardian right here, that is the rank 4 essence. So, yeah. And it's been noted that only a couple get the rank 4. So not everyone will receive it. But yeah, that is quite the Guardian there. So that is cool. And more specifically, in case you're interested, this is the rank 4 condensed life force. Now, for another possibly interesting fact for you guys, but could be useless as well. But I like to mention it. I usually put it in the description when I do videos like this that involve the world first. But the kill count. So the first 3 bosses, they had no wipes. They downed the first 3 bosses on Mythic perfectly. And then Lady Ashvane, you guys that watch the Mythic race, you might remember that's where everyone was halted for quite a while. And so Method had 37 wipes on Lady Ashvane. And then Urgozo had 58, which I knew that fight was going to have a lot, because that fight it can be a little rough. The Queen's Court was 17, and Zakul was 169, and then Queen Ashara was 356. Okay, so that is all I have for news. There's not a whole lot going on for Classic. We still have not heard of a new date for the final stress test. And there's not much going on for retail, so it's a pretty easy week coming up with the world quests and all that. There's not a whole lot going on. Now, as for YouTube, there is a lot of upcoming WoW videos. I've been sitting back trying to figure out what order to put them in, because I keep doing these new ones that I think should be ranked first. And yeah, so I'm not totally sure what's going to be coming up on the channel this coming up week, but raid videos are in the works. I have 7 over 8 of the Eternal Palace bosses recorded at the moment. And so they are coming up. I can't guarantee you that they're going to be this week, but I definitely will put them out before the final one. I'll try to get those videos out before the final one. And that way you see all the bosses. Because I do know some of you guys just don't go into normal or heroic raids, and I understand that it can, if you don't have a committed group, it can be a pain in the ass between the time you're waiting for people, and most of the time I'm already sitting in a group for an hour before we even do the first pull. It's definitely time consuming when you don't have a committed group, which is why we have the website. So if you are wanting to raid, but you have no one to raid with, come join our website. That's why I built it. It's at www.sinsofinsanity.com, and it's a forum in there and everything. We're looking for more people to raid, and once we have the people, we will more regularly do it. For the time being, I more or less raid with friends. I find, I join some of their guild runs or, God forbid, pug groups. But in my opinion, I would never suggest pug groups to anyone. It's a lot of wasted hours for the most part. This progression, once in a while I'll luck out, but for the most part, my progression takes a lot longer than the typical person would. And that's because you join a pug group, you down a boss, then half your raid leaves. Then you're reforming, down another boss, half the raid leaves. It's just so fucking much grouping up and waiting for people to fill roles. And it's just such a pain. So I personally want us to, I've been trying to form our raid group for a long time now. We as a guild haven't legitly really raided since I would say Wrath. Wrath was like the last good time I remember us raiding, where we had lots of people, we had replacement heals, people just at the side if they, if we needed extra, and, we had a couple of raid teams going on, and yeah, it was really good back then. But since Wrath, a lot of people have quit. However, this is why I chose to make this week's WoW Weekly have the raid content in it for this week. Usually, as many of you guys know, I usually just throw in like a Mythic Plus for our video. With the new LFR wing showing up tomorrow, this way you see those bosses, because I am showing those bosses. Like, yeah, the first 3 bosses of this video were in LFR. I'm doing this in normal mode, but those are obtainable in LFR right now, those first 3. But we are currently doing the 3 that will be available tomorrow as well, because you've already seen at this point Lady Ashvane. We just killed this is Orgozo right here, and then once this guy's dead, we will be on our way to the Queen's Court, which will be the last boss of the LFR wing that will open up on Tuesday. So at least you get to see it, which is also why I want to try to down Queen Ashara before the next LFR opens up, because then you could see that kill as well before you go and queue in. But yeah, even though I do these on a higher mode than LFR, the reason I do showcase them is so that you guys kind of have an idea what's going on when you go in. I know some of you guys, do raid, but I know a lot of you guys don't. And for many reasons, work or kids, or, just not having enough time to spend that kind of time. This raid here went really well, but it was still pretty much an entire night of raiding. So they do take some time. You are looking at pretty much an entire night to clear the raid. And that's if you have a good group. Which is why, even as a person who does go into the higher difficulty raiding, I still am not part of that crowd of people that says LFR should be removed. I get why they say that. LFR can be, you're not learning mechanics or anything. But the reason I am not on their side as far as removing it is because LFR was built for people that don't have time to raid. So, and I feel like everyone should kind of see the bosses, right? And because you get some of the story out of the boss fights as well. So while a lot of people may not agree with LFR, not everyone has the time to raid. Like I said, this run went good, and it was an entire night of raiding, basically. So if you want to actually clear raids, you are looking at time. Most guilds will raid 2 or 3 nights a week. If you have a family, or, you work, or both combined, you probably don't have that kind of time. And that's what LFRs were made for. That's why they're 3 bosses per section pretty much. You can get through them in half hour. They're dumbed down so that you can kill them, and I don't think they're really there at all for the loot. I think they're just there so that you as a person who can't put the time into raiding, can still see what the bosses are for. So yeah, long story short, if you're interested in raiding, definitely come check out our website. And even if you're not, it's a community website. Like, we do much more than just form raid groups. There's random chat there. You can talk about pretty much whatever as long as it follows the rules. But it's mainly the guild stuff. But I did set it up also for people to find people to play with in Classic. So there is that as well. And as for the raid team, we're looking for everyone. So if you're DPS, your heals, your tank, we're looking for everyone. There's really only a few of us committed players. And in the meantime, we could be doing some Mythic Pluses. And for the Mythic Pluses, we're basically looking for tank and heals, because we're all DPS. I do have like a tank and a heals as alt characters, but they're not really geared as high as my druid is. So yeah, I'd have to gear them a little more to get into the season 3 mythics. But as for what we got right now, we're missing a tank and heals for that situation. Okay, so that is all I have for you guys. It was a longer video than I thought. Sometimes I'm happy when there's no news because I'm like, oh, I can make it like a 10-minute video. And I swear, I don't know what it is, but the less WoW news I have for the video, the longer the video seems to be. I don't know. I always seem to find something to ramble about for so long that it turns the video into a longer video than it should have been, because we were missing, usually we have at least 4 things news-wise that we talk about. But yeah, anyway. I apologize for the extra lengthy video. Usually we keep it to the 20 to 30 mark, and this is kind of bordering on to the 40-minute mark. However, the good part is that you were able to see every boss. I realize at this point in the video, when you hear me say this, we're sitting on Zakul, but Zakul's the second last boss. I put in the footage of Queen Ashara, even although I didn't actually kill her. So you will see some of that before the video ends. And as you can see, because I am prepping our ending to our video here, I had to speed up the fights, the last couple of fights here, because I'm gonna run out of words and it'll just be dead air. So that's why things are going a little faster as far as the video goes. We just sped it up a little bit just so that everything kind of matches, there's no dead air or anything like that. And I'm going to be doing a better version of Zakul with Queen Ashara. Because what I would like to do is the WoW Weekly that we do just before the LFR wing comes out for those 2. I would like to have them in that video. So yeah, because, I would think by then I would have the Queen Ashara kill, and you'll see a little more, because you really don't get much of that fight. I didn't get really far enough into her to make it a legit video. And now that you see us at the last boss now, are you guys like in agreement with me that this looks like Argus, like the platform for Argus? Because, like, yeah, of course, there's some differences, statues in the middle of the place and stuff like that. But when I first approached this platform, to me, it was like Antorus, Argus fight with sea creatures. That's pretty much what I think of it as. So I definitely think they took the idea of Argus and kind of made a similar area, which is fine. Like, there's still some differences to it, so I don't see that as like, a bad thing. Okay, so we have made this a bit of a longer video for our WoW Weekly, but that is okay. It's longer for a couple of reasons, mainly my blabbing. It has nothing to do with having every boss in the video. It's just I talked for so long, we were able to actually get most of them in, so that's why I just sped it up and made it so that they're all in this video. So basically this was a WoW Weekly / watch me do, more or less a full run of Eternal Palace. So I hope you enjoyed. Let me know if you have any goals for this coming up week, or maybe you got a new mount this past week. Let me know. Let's hear your accomplishments. And yeah, one last thing I would like to say just before I take off here is that since it is a slower week, I have told some of the guildies and stream that we will be doing at least one day of lobby leveling this week. It'll probably be on Thursday, but more than likely Friday. But either one of those days, or maybe both, we'll see what goes on. And yeah, a few of us made Iron Dwarfs, like back when they first came out, Dark Iron Dwarfs. And we got them to level 60, and then we just kind of stopped leveling, mainly due to new content coming out. And so I honestly wouldn't mind continuing the leveling on my character, which is a Dark Iron Pally. So we have a tank and 2 DPS. So if you are heals or a DPS and around the level 60 mark, then feel free to join us. And that'll be done in stream at twitch.tv/Myst of Darkness, so you can find it over there. I'm always pretty specific in my titles of the stream for that day, so if you're just wanting to kind of come by for that particular day, just check the stream title. You will be able to tell if it's leveling day or not. And yeah, that's all I have for you guys. I hope you enjoyed, and hope you didn't mind the lengthy video. And we will see you in the next video. I promise. Actually, no, I don't know. Should I promise? I will almost promise that the next WoW Weekly will be back to normal at its 20 to 30 minute thing. Almost promise, because I can't control my rambling. As you see, I'm ending the video and we're still kind of going. So anyway, I'm out of here. Bye, guys.